One warm afternoon, Devayani went sporting through the woods with the daughters of Vrishaparva, the Asura king. Races run, games played, laughter hanging in the trees. Tired and glowing, the girls came upon a cool forest pool, laid their garlands and garments on the bank, and slipped into the water. While they bathed, a strong gust came off the hills and tumbled all their clothes into one bright heap. Climbing out, the girls sorted silk from silk, and in the muddle, the princess Sarmishtha dressed herself, without noticing, in Devyani's clothes. A small accident. From such small accidents, whole dynasties turn. Devyani saw and teased, half in jest, but only half. Since when does the disciple's daughter wear the clothes of the master's daughter? The words were meant to sting lightly and pass. They did not pass. Sharmishtha turned, and in her eyes, the jest had already become an insult. The princess drew herself up royally. "Your father bows to mine every morning," she said. "He is a beggar praising kings for his bread. You are a beggar's daughter living on my father's charity. Mine is the race that gives, yours is the race that receives." And with every sentence her voice climbed and her fury fed itself. Then words were no longer enough. Sharmishta struck Devyani across the face, and in the blindness of her rage, shoved her into a dry well at the forest's edge. The other girls froze, then fled toward the palace, certain they had just watched the master's daughter die. But Devyani was alive, bruised, furious, and trapped. The well was dry and deep, its walls too steep for any hold. She called out until her voice thinned into the empty forest. Above her, a circle of evening sky. Around her, silence. Nobody in the world knew where she was. Chance, or something wearing Chance's clothes, brought a hunter to that spot. Yayati, emperor of the Bharat race, dusty from the chase and looking for water. He glanced into the well expecting darkness and saw instead a glimmer, bright earrings, and a young woman looking up at him with imperious tear-washed eyes. "Who are you, maiden with the shining earrings?" The king called down. "Whose daughter? From what house? And how does someone like you end up at the bottom of a well?" "I am Sukracharya's daughter," she answered, "and my father does not know I am here. Lift me out." And she raised her hands to him. Yayati reached down, clasped her right hand, and drew her up into the light. For a moment, they stood there, the emperor and the master's daughter, strangers joined by a rescue. Neither of them knew it yet, but by the old customs, that clasp of the right hand was no small thing. Devyani knew it very well. "I will not go back to Vrishaparva's city," she said, "not after what was done to me there." Then she looked at the king directly. "You have taken a maiden by her right hand. That is a betrothal, and I accept it. You are worthy of me. Marry me." Yayati stepped back. "Lady, I am a Kshatriya," he said gently, "and you are a Brahman's daughter, the daughter of the world's own teacher. The Lord does not give you to me. Go home, revered one." And bowing, torn between admiration and duty, the emperor rode away toward his capital. For that was the old rule of marriages. A woman might wed above her order, never below it. A Kshatriya's daughter could marry a Brahman. A Brahman's daughter marrying a Kshatriya ran against the grain of the Sastras. The law had spoken through Yayati's mouth. But this story is not finished with these two. Devyani did not go home. She sat down in the shade of a tree with her anger and her shame, and stayed there as the shadows lengthened, a girl who had been slapped, thrown away, and then politely refused, all in one afternoon. The forest kept her company and asked no questions. In the city, Sukracharya waited, and the waiting became fear. This daughter was dearer to him than his own life. He sent a woman of the household searching, and she combed the woods until, at last, beneath a lone tree, she found Devayani, eyes red, jaw set, grief and fury sharing the same face. "What happened, child?" the woman asked. Devayani gave her no story, only a message, each word like a stone laid down. "Go to my father and tell him this. I will not set foot in Vrishaparva's capital again." The messenger looked at her face, understood that this was final, and ran. Sukracharya came at once, grief hurrying his old feet. He gathered his daughter close and offered her a sage's comfort. "We are made happy or miserable by our own deeds, child, not by the deeds of others. Their vices cannot touch what you are." Wise words. And as wise words often are, useless. "Father, leave my merits and faults aside," Devayani answered, trembling. "Tell me if this is true. She called you a minstrel singing for king's favor. Me, a beggar's daughter fed on doles. Then she slapped me and threw me into a pit. I will not live one more day on her father's soil." At that, the old master rose to his full height. "You are no minstrel's daughter," he said quietly. "Your father flatters no king for bread. Indra himself knows what I am, and Vrishaparva knows what he owes me. A worthy man does not sing his own praises, so I will say no more. But hold your head up. Rise, my jewel," he said, softening. "You are the prosperity of this family walking on 2 feet. Be patient with the world a little longer and come home." And though her anger still smoldered, Devayani let her father lift her to her feet. Because some comfort from some voices cannot be refused. And here the epic pauses to teach. The one who bears a neighbor's abuse with patience conquers the whole world. The one who reigns in rising anger is the true charioteer, not the man who merely holds the reins while the horses bolt. Shed anger as a snake sheds its worn-out skin. That, says the epic, is what a hero actually is. But Devayani answered her father like this. "Wounds from weapons close. Burns heal over. The wound's words make bleed for a lifetime. I cannot stay." So Sukracharya went before Vrishaparva and laid down his account. "Your people murdered my blameless pupil, and I bore it. Now your daughter has dishonored mine. We are leaving your kingdom." The Asura king went white. "Master, if you abandon us, I will walk into fire." "Appease my daughter then," said Sukracharya. "She is dearer to me than your whole race." So king and court walked out to the tree where Devayani stood and bowed at her feet. Her price was exact. "Let the princess who called me a beggar's daughter become my handmaiden." And Sarmishtha, to save her father's kingdom, bowed her proud head. "I will serve her," she said. The fault was mine. Time passed, and the forest brought Devayani and Yayati together once more. Again, she claimed him. "You took my right hand. You are mine." Again, he protested the law. So they carried the question to the one authority above kings, and Sukracharya gave his consent. Rare against the grain, but once made, a marriage stands. Devayani wed her emperor, and Sarmishtha, the handmaiden, went with her to Yayati's palace. For years, all was well. Then Sarmishtha, a king's daughter after all, met Yayati in secret and asked for what a handmaiden may not have. And he, moved, married her too, hiding it from Devyani. Such things do not stay hidden. Devyani's fury flew to her father, and Sukracharya's curse fell on the emperor like nightfall at noon. Old age now, in the prime of his manhood, Yayati begged until the master relented by a hair. The curse must run. But if any man will freely trade his youth for your age, the exchange shall hold. Remember that bargain. Everything that follows hangs on it.